This is Leanne, and here is what's trending now. In the news today is the 150th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address. Now, the variety of articles out there on the topic is absolutely astounding. For example, the National Journal chose to focus its story on the fact that President Obama did not show up. And as a matter of fact, no president has showed up since Hayes. Now, they say they find this a little bit surprising because here's what they say. They say his decision is doubly surprising because he was so often tied himself to his fellow Illinoisan Lincoln. Now, of course, there are other articles as well. For example, USA Today chose to write about 5 things that you should know about the Gettysburg Address. Among these 5 things, what I find the most surprising is that Lincoln was not the keynote speaker. And here's what they say. The dignitary who spoke before Lincoln, Edward Everett, delivered what was scheduled as the main speech of the day. The former Massachusetts governor and one-time Secretary of State took 2 hours navigating its 13,607 words, which of course is a big contrast to the 272 words that Lincoln spoke. Fox News and CBS News chose to focus their story on the commemoration and the gathering and the reenactments. And finally, I thought you might enjoy actually hearing the full text. And here it is. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave us the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was originally given and probably said much nicer, November 19th, 1863. And if you have some interest in the Gettysburg Address and in the commemoration, be sure to look up some of these articles. For more trends, visit newstrendingnow.net and be sure to click on the link below this video to learn how I make money simply by sharing the news on the web, and how you can too in 3 simple steps.